How I went from failing at 4 different side hustles to making over 6K per month with appointment setting, without starting my own business, without working more than 6 hours a day, and without being overwhelmed with this huge learning curve of responsibilities that comes with a business. There's 2 pictures of me here. One is me working as a trolley pusher at a supermarket. You can see me in this high vis. And the second picture is me with 2 friends and 2 students in New York City at a rooftop bar. As I am filming this video right now, I've dropped out of college and now I'm living my dream life with my friends in Marbella, Spain. There's a couple pictures of me here. One is us in the city, one is at the gym. This is the gym we train out. This is us in Gibraltar. We went for a 1-day trip with a monkey in our lap. This is by the beach, also by the beach. And then just a wealthier part of the area where there's super yachts and all these things. And it took a lot to get here. If I told you, this is just a quick process, that is a lie. When I was 14, I started my first business with Instagram theme pages. Every single day I worked nonstop and I would be in school, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And then from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'd be working on all these different aspects of my business. Things like content, sales, marketing, and every single aspect. And after a couple months of trial and error and trying to do everything on my own, it wouldn't work out. So I decided to, invest into a mentor and just get someone to help me. And things finally took off. And here's a picture of me when I was younger. I'm thinking I was on top of the world because I was working from my phone. And to be fair, I did think I was on top of the world because for a 14-year-old I was. I was 14 making hundreds of dollars a day. And this is the setup I was working at. You can see I had the crazy table, the bed, the chair, and all these things were either secondhand or given to me for free. And I was able to make hundreds of dollars a day with this setup. And when I turned 15, I had the best month ever. This was kind of crazy, to be honest. I made over $10,000 in a single month as a kid in high school. And the feeling obviously was surreal and it didn't feel normal. And after that month, to be honest with you, everything kind of went sideways. I was working more than 12 hours a day. I was balancing school, business, and every other aspect of my life. My social life was shit, my grades dropped, and my mental health got really, really bad because I was working all day, every single day, and I had nobody to socialize with. And all of a sudden, after doing everything, I hated my business. I did not enjoy what I was doing, and I just really didn't want to do it anymore. By then, a friend of mine convinced me to do crypto with him and he persuaded me to just leave everything behind. And I did. But this is some grades you can see I got a lot of C's here for some of my exams when I was like 15. And eventually I did, like I said. I left everything for crypto. I shut down my business and I obviously did not have much to show for it. And by then, my business had already collapsed. Like I went from making over $10,000 in a single month. And then at this point I was making, $1,000, $1,500 a month, working more than ever and working harder than ever. And at this point, lifestyle inflation had caught up with me and I lost everything I made. And you're probably thinking, how did I do that? But I basically fell for the shiny object syndrome. I spent a lot of money on silly things I did not need. And I was young and I had ego and I thought, it was the right thing to do. But eventually I fell for the shiny object syndrome. I was starting to get into crypto and even though I was making decent money, I lost over $10,000 in 3 days. I was 16. I lost over $10,000 in 3 days. Maybe you can imagine what that did to me, but it was not a fun time. I don't honestly remember a lot about that period in my life either, and to be honest, I'm surprised I made it through because it was a very difficult situation to be in. But that moment kind of changed me forever, and it changed the way I think and act and everything about me. But at this point, I really screwed myself up because my social life was worse than ever. My grades were worse than ever. And I was living off some crypto profits. And, I felt shitty and I looked shitty. And you could see a picture of me here looking absolutely horrible. And same with here, just not in shape, feeling like shit, acting like shit, looking like shit. And to be honest, I hated that I wasn't in control and that I felt like my fate was kind of predetermined and I was powerless. Because I went from this young kid who was making a lot of money and I felt like I was on top of the world to going into crypto and then realizing I wasn't able to just make money like I thought I was. I was losing more money than I was making. And to be honest, I was kind of afraid to start another business. The last time I did, I lost more than I gained. And I got so burnt out that I thought I hated running businesses. I was working more than ever. I was more stressed than ever. And I didn't even know if I wanted to do it again or ever again. And looking back, I kind of realized something. I didn't hate, running a business. That wasn't really why I stopped. Obviously, I didn't enjoy it at the moment, but it's not that I hated running a business. It's that I couldn't. I didn't have skills. I didn't have experience. And to be honest, I didn't really have anything. I was this young guy who had the ability to make money at one point in his life, but he didn't know anything. And I really sucked at balance and I sucked at business because I didn't know anything. And to be honest, now I know, and I understand why this all happened. And it's a matter of just not learning actual skills. Instead of learning skills, I was just focused on making as much money as I could. And At this point, I understood that to make good money at a consistent level, and not just in 1 month like I did before, I needed to learn a real skill. It wouldn't be something where I could do it for a month and then not do it. I needed to learn a real skill. And I looked at different options, and there's drop shipping, there's FBA, and there's all these businesses where some guru is selling you the dream, telling you you're going to be rich. And you've seen it and I've seen it. And I didn't want to do one of those. I wanted to do something that was a real, actual skill. And that same day, I messaged a friend of mine from the Theme Pages days. We did Instagram Theme Pages together, and we obviously made some decent money together. And I asked him what he was doing with his life and, how things were going and what he was doing to make money, because I knew he was always a guy who would make money. And he was doing something called appointment setting. He was basically replying or messaging leads on his phone to book in sales calls, and he would just get a commission from these sales. He was making like 5K per month, I think, at the time. And obviously, as a person who was not making a lot of money, I wanted to learn more. I watched a bunch of videos on it on YouTube, and within a few hours, I just started looking for jobs. I said, screw this, I don't want to wait, I just want to do this. And after a few weeks, nothing really worked out. I was all excited, and I was like, I'm gonna do the setting thing, and I'm gonna, just try to do it on my own. And it didn't work out. Not like the last time where I got lucky and everything just hit at once. I didn't figure it out. And I thought I had everything figured out, and then I was hit by reality. I was this 18-year-old loser. I was working a minimum wage funfair job at this point in my life. And I had no sense of direction. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wasn't even able to make money. And I messaged my friend again out of desperation. I honestly, at this point in my life, I needed it to work. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And we spoke for a while, and he decided to help me. And that was the day, once again, where I invested into a new mentor. Within my first month, I made a couple $100s at this point. And you can see here a picture of me working at the fun fair. And after that, things, started to click. Momentum came in, and at this point I was making over $6,000 a month. I went from, this guy who got lucky, made over $10,000 a month, and then lost $10,000 in 3 days and was making really, really inconsistent money, to this guy who is now consistently making $6,000 a month with appointment setting. I was making really good money. I was only working 5 to 6 hours a day in comparison to working 12 hours a day in the past. And I had my friends back for the first time in a long time. And I even had a girlfriend at this point, which is quite crazy. The guy I showed you pictures of not long ago somehow managed to get a girlfriend. If you've not realized it yet, appointment setting changed my life forever. It helped me from rock bottom, and it helped me get to where I am now, in a much better, stable position. And for once in my life, people were looking at me as if I actually had done well, as if I had my life, figured out. And a while after hitting these consistent 6K months, I realized I solved my biggest problem that I was facing this entire time, all these years. And it was the fact that I knew real skills now. It wasn't a matter of being able to get lucky, it was a matter of knowing exactly what I was doing. And the feeling was unimaginable. Like, you can imagine, after all that time and all that struggle, finally figuring things out. And here is actually a screenshot of when I was applying for jobs before, appointment setting started to take off. And I got this job opportunity for an interview. New Look, which is like a retail store, if you know what I'm talking about, which is quite funny to look back at now. And everything I've accomplished and everything I've done has been possible through appointment setting. And I have to give it all to appointment setting. This is me in Paris with my family and my girlfriend. This is me in New York City with some friends and students. This is me in Spain with some friends of mine. This is me in Morocco. Me in France with a friend of mine in the French Alps. This is me with a friend of mine bouldering in Budapest. If you know me, you know I love bouldering. So what actually is appointment setting? Everyone sells something nowadays, and to sell something, especially something expensive, you need sales calls. The last thing a coach or someone selling a program, the last thing they want to do is reply to messages all day, every single day. And they hire someone like me instead. An appointment setter's job is to kind of talk to these leads, either through the phone or the DMs, and basically book them in for the sales call, where either the coach or the closer takes the call, closes the deal, and you get a percentage of the sale every single time they buy. This is the first case study I want to show you. This is Sebastian Stone. And Seb was reselling shoes, and if you know anything about reselling shoes, it's really, really competitive, and it's not really a skill game, it's more so just a matter of luck. And he couldn't really get ahead because of that. He was kind of sick of not having control or power over how much he was making. And that's when he kind of came across appointment setting. We started working together, we trained him in, he learned the ropes, obviously stayed consistent, and now he is living in Marbella making over $8,000 a month, and finally, after all this time, living life on his own terms. This is a interview we recorded together, 0 to 7K per month as an 18-year-old with appointment setting. Obviously now he has made over $8,000 in a month, still at 18, which is a massive accomplishment. This is a video of me and Seb getting Wagyu steaks, and you can see there he got a payment in, which is like $200-300 literally while we were together as well, which is pretty funny. The next person I want to show you is Angelo. Angelo is your average broke college student. He was kind of struggling to get by, and he wanted to find a way to make money like most of us do. And within the first month, we trained Angelo in, got him placed on an offer, and made him over $3,500 in a single month. He's still attending college, by the way, and he still does appointment setting on the side, and makes around $4,000 to $5,000 per month while working a few hours a day. This is a picture of him while we were in New York City together, and he got a payment in once again, just like Seb. And the third case study I want to show you is Sturgios. Sturgios was a chef on a Greek island. He was working around 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and making like little money, to be honest. He was making $1,200 a month. He came into setting with a small background in sales, making it really easy to train him in and get him on a 1% offer within his first few weeks. He's now moved out and he makes over $5,000 a month working 4 to 6 hours a day, which is obviously a major difference from where he was before. This is a message he sent me where he was literally at his grandma's house, made over $5,000 in a month while helping his cousin with her homework. Must be a great feeling. Now, what makes setting different from, all these other things you see online? Because if you're like me and you didn't know what to pick or you don't know what to pick, you've seen all these different things. Well, let me tell you. Now, what makes setting different? Because there's so many different business models or skills nowadays that you can learn to make money online. What makes this different? The first thing is, setting is a very simple skill. Appointment setting is one of the easiest skills to learn and master, and realistically, you can do it in a very short time span. The second thing is dedicated focus. You can focus on one thing instead of running an entire business like I was, where you're focusing on sales, marketing, content, and all these different aspects. Number 3 is scalability. The more you improve and the better you get at setting, the more calls you book, and ultimately the more money you make. Number 4 is flexible hours. Setting gives you the freedom to kind of work on your own schedule, set whenever you want, and gives you freedom to work around your life instead of you having to live around work. Now, I'm not here to tell you that setting is going to make you $100,000 a month, because it's not one of those business models. But you can realistically do $3,000 to $8,000 a month within your first few months, and then eventually scale to 10, 15K per month if you take it seriously and go all in. It's not one of these things where you're instantly going to make a lot of money, but it will take time to learn the skill, get better, and get these good offers. Appointment setting is just the first step. And when you decide you want to grow and kind of develop your skill set or go into other skill sets, you're able to go into closing or management or other ventures within the sales space, making it really, really easy to grow and scale. Now, what is the 4-step process to becoming a top 1% appointment setter? Let me tell you. The first thing is the in-depth sales training. To become a high-performing appointment setter, you need to understand and have the right knowledge, and on top of that, also have practical experience where you are able to perform at a high level. And you don't really just get there by watching YouTube videos or, watching someone set on a YouTube video. It takes more than that. So how do you learn appointment setting when you have zero experience and you've never had an offer at all? You're starting from scratch like I was and you don't know what to do. The first thing you can do is shadow experienced setters. You can find people that are already successful with appointment setting and kind of just ask to shadow and learn from them. They've done it before. So if you copy them and just do exactly what they're doing, it will make it a lot easier for you to perform. The second thing is role plays. You can get on calls with setters or coaches or whoever it is and role play these realistic scenarios and just kind of play objections so you understand how these calls will go, how these DMs will go, and what you can do to kind of counter them and get to a very good level with it. Number 3 is seeking feedback. If you get specific feedback on your strategies, your performance, and every little technique you're using, you will perform better, you'll learn faster, and you'll avoid mistakes by learning from those who've mastered setting. You will learn from people that are literally, like I said, where you want to be, and it will fast track your results. This is a picture of me with some friends that are also appointment setters. You can see Seb, Angelo, Ivan, all very successful appointment setters, and we were just doing some training together. And this is a group call where I was training in the boys. We're kind of going through everything together. Number 2 is offer acquisition. To succeed as an appointment setter, you need an offer with consistent leads so you're able to, book in calls and actually earn commissions. If you do not book in any calls, you are not going to earn any commissions. It is a sales job at the end of the day. So how do you find roles that pay well, have consistent leads without wasting time on all these low quality offers? If you've been in the sales space for a while like I have, you've seen there are so many bad offers out there. There's a lot more bad than good. But how do you put yourself in a position where you do get on the good ones and you can avoid the bad ones? There's 3 good ways that I would suggest. Number 1 is building your network. If you connect with high network individuals and build relationships of your own, you will not have any problems finding roles. You will get so good at setting and you'll have very good connections around you, where if you ever stop working with a client or you want to stop working on an offer, people will kind of come to you and ask you to work with them. You will have your own network where there are offers in that space. Number 2 is joining existing networks. Instead of building up your own network and doing something that is going to take you a long time, you can fast track that like I mentioned earlier and just join groups that give you access to these opportunities, access to all the training and all these different things. And number 3 is referrals. You can ask for recommendations from people you already know. Think about it, there are so many people in the sales space nowadays. And if you're new to it, you probably don't know, but there's thousands of appointment setters. Network and referrals is everything in the sales space, because trust, as you probably heard before, is the new currency in 2025. Here I am on a call with, if you know who this is, Nero Knowledge, and some other big ballers doing very well. So building up your own network will help you a lot. And number 3 is performance optimization. Optimizing your performance means basically refining your approach, refining your skill set, and getting to a point where you can book in at least 3 calls a day, because then at that point you earn more commissions too. Like I mentioned earlier, the more calls you book, the more money you will make. So how do you take your performance to the next level and start earning more commissions? There are 3 different ways that are really good. Number 1 is tracking key metrics. You can track daily conversations you're having, the calls you're pitching, the calls you're booking, and then you can figure out, okay, is there a conversion problem when I pitch calls? Or am I not having enough conversations? Is volume the issue? And you can constantly look at everything and refine what you're doing and figure out if maybe it's a simple problem of not pitching enough people on a call. That is the fastest way to do it. Number 2 is refining your approach. Adjust your pitch, figure out how to handle objections better, and learn different setting strategies so you can overcome these problems and challenges that you're facing. So you can get to that point where you're booking 3 calls a day. And the last one is seeking feedback. If you get constant feedback from peers, coaches, friends, whoever it is, and they kind of tell you how to fine-tune your skills and avoid these mistakes, it will make it a lot easier for you to understand where you're going wrong. The more you refine your skills, the easier it is to book in calls, the higher the commissions, and the more success and money you are going to make at the end of the day. And this is an end-of-day accountability channel you can use. You can do conversations had, calls pitched, calls booked, anything else. This is what we use, and this is something you can integrate into your own setting, into your own life. Here's Sergio's 400 conversations had in a day, 7 pitched, 7 booked, and he booked 20 calls for that week. That was a very good week, as you can imagine. But these are things you want to be doing. And the 4th way is scaling your success. Once you're performing at a top level and you've kind of hit a ceiling with your own offer stacking is probably the easiest way you're going to scale. But how do you break past, your current income cap and start increasing the amount of money you're making and just make more? There's a few different ways. The first thing you can do is land 1% roles. You can focus on getting the highest paying roles that provide, the most growth, the most opportunity, and give you the most potential to make more money. The second way is to master your time management. So how do you get to a point where you're able to manage more than one offer at once without burning out and without stressing out and doing all these different? And the third way and the final way is to become a 1% appointment setter. If you develop the mindset and the skills that set the top 1% of appointment setters apart, it is going to be very easy for you to do so. If you stack 1% roles, you systemize the way you work, and you're able to increase your earnings without working more hours by becoming a 1% setter too, you will make significantly more money than you are making now, or most setters will ever make. And here is me with Seb. He's showing me how much he made with his offer. Over $8,000 in a month with a couple different offers by OfferStack. This is the way you are going to scale. This is my 4-step process for your journey if you do want to get to a point where you can become a top 1% appointment setter and make good money with this. Number 1 is in-depth training. Number 2 is offer acquisition. Number 3 is performance optimization. And number 4 is scaling your success. And here are some more student wins I want to show you. This is Ariane, who made over $200 in a day. This is Ricky, who made right under $700 in 2 days at 16. This is Teddy, who made over $1,000 revenue and $500 for himself that day. And this is Sturgios, who made over $500 in 24 hours. Here's Caetano, who made $400 in a day. Sturgios, who made $775 in 3 days. Seb, who made $760 in 2 days. Caetano, who made another $400 in a day. Teddy, who made another $480 in a day. Angela, who made nearly $1,000 in a day. Ricky, who made around $300 in a day. Sturgios, who made another $300 in a day. If you are sick of failing at these other businesses and you want to start making anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 a month in 120 days or less, without starting your own business, without working these long and dreadful hours like I was, and without being overwhelmed with a huge learning curve of responsibilities, what I want you to do is go ahead and book in a call with me, and we can talk more about everything in detail. And just so you know I'm not here to play around or joke around, here's my guarantee for you. If you do not make your full investment back within 120 days or less, with my custom roadmap, my one-on-one coaching calls, my group training sessions, video modules, and everything else I have in here, I will give you a full refund and train you for free until you double your investment. That is how confident I am in this. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed seeing my journey from a different perspective. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you for watching.